News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. President Trump says the ceasefire with Iran is over, posting on social media that the U.S. has told Iran they've agreed to talks, but there's no longer a ceasefire in place. Bloomberg's Tyler Kendall.
Though I guess this does perhaps tamp down some of those fears that we could be headed towards some more significant military escalation. He's putting it in writing that he will be open to the talks continuing. Our own reporting had confirmed overnight that they're continuing on at least the technical level. We should say the context here going into this week. We knew that they were expected to slow down to some extent.
Bloomberg's Tyler Kendall on Balance of Power. At least 2 oil supertankers appeared to have crossed the Strait of Hormuz on a U.S. protected route through the waterway. The level of observable oil tanker traffic through the strait has slowed in the past 24 hours. Checking crude oil prices, they are lower. WTI topping $71 a barrel, Brent crude near $76 a barrel. A rally that drove stocks to a striking distance of their record highs wavered ahead of the earnings season, with SK Hynix jumping in its debut. We check markets for you all day long here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 up 0.2%, NASDAQ up 0.2%, the Dow up 0.1%, the 10-year Treasury yield at 4.55%, the 2-year yield at 4.19%. Chip stocks on the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index a 0.1% higher now, led by NVIDIA, which has jumped about 3.5%. SK Hynix is trading in the U.S. under the ticker SKHY. ADRs surged above their offering price after the company raised $26.5 billion in the largest ever U.S. listing by a foreign company. Bloomberg's Ed Ludlow sat down with SK Group's chairman Che Tae-wan just before the SK Hynix debut, who said he has a much bigger investment plan.
We already invested in the 35, but I see that, my plan is that a much bigger number. So
bigger than 35 billion.
Much bigger than 35. So I'm planning to, and this is one milestone, and we access the U.S. capital market, and we have a lot of options.
Hear our entire interview with SK Group's chairman Che Tae-wan on the Bloomberg Talks podcast. SK Hynix is currently fluctuating between $172 and $175 during its NASDAQ debut. Delta Airlines beat estimates, saying strong demand for premium, corporate, and international travel helped offset higher fuel costs. Stephen Trent is president of SDT Capital Advisors.
Unit revenue was very strong, and I think that's the story people are talking about. Are these carriers maintaining demand with everything going on? Are they able to raise unit revenue enough to offset what's happening with jet fuel kerosene? I think the answer is yes.
Stephen Trent with SDT Capital Advisors. Delta shares now down about 2%. On Capitol Hill, President Trump says he will not sign a bipartisan housing bill in protest over lawmakers declining to approve the so-called Save America Act. The White House says the housing legislation will become law even without the president's signature, as long as he doesn't issue a veto. The housing bill includes measures that would curb large institutional investors' ownership of single-family homes. It would streamline rules around factory-built housing and encourage localities to remove barriers to construction. A Mexican man living in the U.S. who was killed by an ICE agent in Houston, Texas, was not the person federal authorities had been targeting. The man, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, was a home builder. He had lived in the U.S. for more than 35 years and had no criminal record. The district attorney's office says it's investigating. A Ryanair flight made an emergency landing in Greece after a window on the Boeing 737 dislodged soon after takeoff, reportedly because it was hit by a piece that came off the engine. Several media outlets reported one passenger was partly sucked out of the broken window. The 61-year-old Serbian man is currently hospitalized with friction burns and is being checked for other injuries. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris, and this is Bloomberg.